and welcome to the VSA Capital 5 Minute Morning Miner on Monday, the 14th of July. And morning, Paul.
Good morning to you. Good morning. And look at that silver price going to 39.
As we predicted, Paul, and of course it has, broken away from that 100 to 1 ratio with gold and moved down to about sort of 85 to 1 at the moment. I think that's probably one of the easiest arbitrage profits anybody could have had. But yeah, look, I think silver and gold have got further to go. And it is, of course, one of the main reasons why I'm heading off to Mexico the next month to visit four of the most successful junior producing silver and gold miners. But yeah, it's all good news, Paul.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I got to reset my targets now.
That's what happens when you're in a huge bull market for commodities. Everything has to be reset. Right, let's look at the news. It's probably worth mentioning, Paul, because rare earths and in particular creating the magnet side of it all we've seen a lot of news coming out of Macango recently, but ASX listed Ionic Rare Earths has just got a nice chunk of money from the UK government, 11 million quid, and of course they're based in Belfast where they're building a facility. Do you want to talk through that, Paul?
Yes, that's 11 million actually to the consortium of players involved with that Belfast facility. Just over 3 million sterling of that goes directly to Ionic Tech, the subsidiary of Ionic Rare Earths. But it is a direct support by the UK government now in order to create this integrated uh, supply chain around rare earth magnets, in particular, of which this is a demonstration of that. So it's good to see that we're finally getting some commitment there. I didn't see any particular delivery statement, though, as to when the monies would flow, but I would assume that's in coming months.
Yeah, I'm sure we'll be getting more news just as we did out of Macango. Do you want to quickly mention Myriad Uranium late Friday it was, but we'll call that early Monday.
Yes,
They closed a little fundraise, didn't they?
they did. Yes, it's a raise for gross proceeds of $1.9 million, issuing 7.5 million units at 25 cents a unit. The funds are to go for general working capital there on their Wyoming uranium project there at Copper Mountain. Specifically, they had 1,500 additional lab samples to send in, so that they can now pay for those with that. And they also were permitting an expanded set of drill pads with the government authorities in order to have a further choice of targets to drill off at this stage. So it's useful for exploration funds.
Yeah. Then just running through quite quickly, there's some Q2 operational results from Thor Exploration in Nigeria, aren't they? That all seems pretty good.
Yes, they were coming along rather nicely. I would say Q2 production 22,800 ounces, and gold sales average was $3,187 an ounce for revenue of 82.5 million. Milling grade came in at just over 3 grams and recovery at 93% at Segalola Mine. But there is a little bit of a decrease of the total gold in circuit, and they have the gold production guidance for 2025 at Segalola at least 85,000 ounces at all-in sustaining cost of something below $1,000 an ounce. That all-in sustaining cost strikes me as a little bit higher than what we had been told earlier this year, so I'll keep a close watch on that one in particular. And they are on track to go with preparing the updated mineral resource estimate and PFS on their Duta project, which is one of their advanced development projects in Senegal that they would like to add to production in due course.
Okay, and also we should talk about the Q2 sales and cash balances coming out of Strategic Minerals today. Sort of good and bad. Actually, overall, it's all fine. But talk through that, Paul.
And with strategic, let me get that up in front of me here, actually.
Well, there've been some issues, if you remember, at Cobre, where they get their cash flow. There was a
Yes, that's
fire.
right. They had the fire, and they had fire issue there around the in New Mexico there called the Trout Fire. It is almost fully contained now, but it did cause an interruption for safety reasons at the Cobre operation of 10 days. So they did have a revenue fall as a result because that involves directly with shipments, of course, away from the site. But they should be able to make that up, the board says, as the shutdown was short enough. And they have cash balance well in excess of where they were a year ago at almost $1.6 million US. So good to hear that the safety issues should be well resolved now at this point.
And of course, they're drilling at the moment down in Cornwall, and I think we can expect those drill results to be pretty impressive. So the market's taking it very sanguinely, knocked it down at 1% or something, 2%. But all pretty relaxed. Anything else, Paul? All that do?
Only to say that South 32 had put out an announcement about trying to get their next power contract for the Mosul smelter in Mozambique, aluminium smelter. They haven't made sufficient enough progress in that regard on that contract, which ends in March of 2026, such that they say they are withdrawing guidance for 2025 for its production, and they will take some kind of impairment charge on it this year.
Okay, that all sounds good, and we'll be back tomorrow. Looks like today's the last day of the heat wave, so enjoy the heat. Sadly, the rain will probably come in, but probably the gardens will need that. Back tomorrow.
Very good.
Thanks.
This podcast has been produced and edited by VSA Capital. It is intended for information purposes and not as investment advice. The information is intended for recipients who understand the risks associated with equity investments in smaller companies. Please do your own research and do not rely on a single source when making an investment decision. VSA Capital may derive fees from this content and seeks to do business with the companies mentioned.